Hi friends! Today we're going to discuss how to create a quiz in your course in WolfDen. As you can see on the screen, I have a course pulled up and we are going to create a quick quiz. And there are several steps in order to do this to start with, so we're going to go through each one step by step. First off, you can choose a module that you want your test to go into, your quiz or your test, or you can just add an assignment. In this instance, I'm actually going to come down and I'm going to add an assignment in a module that is already created. So I'm going to go to the Add an Assignment item. I'm going to choose the online test format. So the first thing you have to do is you have to create the actual assignment before you can create the actual quiz. So you create this test assignment like any other assignment that you would be created. Test quiz on chapter 1, whatever you want to call your test, whatever the name of your test is. You've already chosen a unit that it's going to be put into automatically. You'll need to make sure that the type of activity matches what is in your gradebook and your syllabus. So in this instance, it's going to be a quiz. The audience goes to the entire class. The due date, of course, you'll need to set a due date. So I'm going to choose October 10th. If you are going to accept late assignments, you can choose these options. It can be opened now or later, or based on rules you define, just like any other assignment that you're going to set up in WolfDen. If you choose based on rules I define, then you will be able to have this test open on a certain date or after a certain assignment. I encourage you to explore these rules, but if you want it open now for the students to be able to get into and see and take, of course, you're going to want to include this grade as a final grade if it's included in your syllabus, or you can do not included or extra credit only. Again, choose a grading criteria. In step 2, this is where you can choose various items to be used for setting up this assignment. If you want the students to be able to review their test after they have taken it, you have several options here. Students can view their test as soon as the due date passes, as soon as they turn it in, after a specific date, etc., or never, or they could never review this test. Show students all questions or questions they did not receive full credit on. So you have options here to go through. If you do want to make sure that they can see it, you can set a date. Or after it's fully graded. So you have options here to review on a student test review. The auto grade. If students do not do it, you can choose for it to automatically assign a grade of 0 after the due date passes. I suggest this as a best practice so that the 0 goes into your grade book. Depending on the type of quiz it is and the purpose of it, if it's an extra credit, of course you can do that in the assignment up here. However, if you do not have this checked, if the student does not complete the test, nothing will go into the gradebook. So it's the best practice to auto grade, assign a grade of 0 to the student who did not take the test before the due date passes. If you want to assign a time limit to the entire quiz, this is where you would do a time limit for the entire quiz. There are ways in the test builder that you can create sections, an essay section, a true-false section, a multiple choice check section, etc. That is in the test builder portion, and you can assign a time limit per section. So if you want them to have 10 minutes for true-false, 15 minutes for multiple choice, or 30 minutes for an essay, you can assign that at a more of a micromanagement level when you create each one of those sections for the actual quiz. If you are not going to be bothered with that and you just want a time limit of 15 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour for the entire test, this is where you would choose it. You can choose minute, hours, or days. In this instance, we're going to do a 10-minute quiz. So the students will have 10 minutes for this entire quiz. Okay? Pagination. If you have multiple sections, true, false, section, multiple choice, section, essay, section, you can choose to show one section per page. You can choose one question per page, 5 questions per page, or you could have everything all on one page that the student clicks on, so they can scroll up and down through all of the questions. In our foreign language placement exam, we have 1 question per page, and we only allow forward progress. These items from time limit, pagination, section order, so if you have multiple sections, you can tell it to shuffle the section, lock students out if they leave the test screen. All of these options are ways to reduce cheating from a student. Reduce cheating, not prevent cheating. If a student is going to cheat on an exam, they're going to find a way to cheat on the exam. If they're doing it online, they could easily look up something on their phone, so they're not navigating off of the test page in WolfDen. So the goal is to use quizzes and test functions in WolfDen as more of a knowledge check, and to utilize these tools to help limit the amount a student could cheat. Okay? Of course, you can allow extra credit if you would like. You can have a security password. So let's say that you are going to be giving an exam online and you want to give it in class face-to-face. Then when you're in class face-to-face, you can still use these parameters from pagination, section order, lockout, time limits. And then you could give them a password so that they could start the test only when you give them the password. Or if you are sending a quiz to someone off campus and they have a proctor, then you can send that password to the proctor, and the proctor can proctor the exam with the student. This would also be beneficial for any students who will be taking a quiz through the Center of Student Success, where they have a proctor there as well. You can send the password to the proctor. These next 2 areas of security require that students use a Respondus lockdown browser for this test, or require the lockdown browser for reviewing a completed test. Let's spend a moment talking about this. The browser lockdown test environment ensures that a student cannot take screenshots, copy and paste, or print, or view other websites or other applications like Instant Messenger or email while taking the test. The lockdown browser is a type of security feature. However, there are issues with it if they have an instant messaging program on their computer or they are receiving email notifications. It may not work correctly. The Respondus lockdown browser has a time and a place for students to be able to use it. They would have to actually download an executable file to their computer or iPad or tablet and install that into their computer. So if you have to require a Respondus lockdown browser, you are going to want to give a sample test ahead of time to make sure that your students and you are not having any technical issues with the lockdown browser. I actually don't recommend this. I recommend time limit, pagination, section order, and lockout for our system in WolfDen. If you want to let students retake a test, you have that option to let them have retakes. You can also assign a waiting period. So if they do get 1 retake, then they have to wait several hours or a day before they can retake that test. So those are options as well. You can also show an in-progress grade update. This may or may not be beneficial for your students. It may create stress. If it's timed, they're going to see a timer in the top left-hand corner or the top right-hand corner of their screen. That also may induce stress. But if you show students their grade in progress, again, it's an option for you. It may work well, it may not work well. Then of course, you'll need to select if they have multiple chances. You want an average grade, the highest grade, or the last grade received. Step 3 is going to be where you put the instructions for the test. This exam is timed at 10 minutes. It is multiple choice, true, false. Apparently I need to spell better. Essay, etc., etc. Whatever directions for the quiz, you need to put it in here, and that's where the students will see the directions. So now you can save your new assignment. That has created the actual assignment that you will see in your coursework under that module. So I will show you that real quick. Right here is, let's see, here is the quiz that we just created. It is due Monday 10/10. It's an online quiz. 0 of 3 students have completed. Of course, I haven't even built it yet, but this is the new quiz we just created. It is the assignment that has been created, not the actual quiz. So you have to create the assignment first, and then you will need to add questions to this quiz. So the way you do that is you click on the name of the assignment and you go to the test builder. Now, as you saw a moment ago, when I completed the assignment, it automatically took me to the test builder, and then I went to coursework to show you where it aligned into the coursework assignment area. Look to the second video on how to create questions in the quiz builder.